Shri Ram Jaya Ram Jaya Jaya Ram.
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 Syavar Ramachandra ki
Jai.
Shri Sadgurunath Maharaj ki
Jai.
Om Shri Ganeshaya Namaha. Om Shri Saraswatyai Namaha. Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Om Shri Vallabho Vijayate Shruti Smriti Purananam Alayam Karunalayam Namami Bhagavat Pada Shankaram Loka Shankaram Samasta Jana Kalyane Niratam Karunamayam Namami Chinmayam Devam Sadgurum Brahmavidvaram Namah Shri Tulsidas Sadvarishtaya Dhimate Puritam Hridayam Yena Rama Premamrite Name Neelambuja Komalangam Sita Samaropitavama Bhagam Parnau Mahasayaka Charuchapam Namami Ramam Raghuvam Shanatham Atulita Baladhamam Hema Shailabhadeham Danujavana Krishanum Jnaninaamagraganyam Gunanidhanam Vanaranam Adhisham Raghupati Priya Bhaktam Vatajatam Namami. In the last session, we started with Uttara Kanda, and we saw that Bhagavan Sri Ramachandra along with all the other people have returned back to Ayodhya, and the most beautiful episode of Rajyabhisheka we saw. Bhagavan's Pattabhisheka has happened. As Tulsidas Ji says, he is the king of the universe. He is not just, king of some piece of land, but all the three worlds are under him. It is only that he is sitting there in Ayodhya. Okay. Doesn't mean that he is just king of Ayodhya. And we saw description that Tulsidas Ji does also for this entire thing. Now, when we see further, there is a very beautiful description of Rama Rajya. It's too much loud there. 0 here. Very beautiful description of Rama Rajya is given here. See, this Rama Rajya concept is well known, isn't it? Actually speaking, there have been so many kings. In Srimad Bhagavat also, in any Puranas, we will see list of kings who have come, in Surya Vamsha, in Chandra Vamsha, in Yadava Vamsha, in different, even Maurya. The recent times also we see so many kings have come, they have ruled, they have been compared, but always the comparison is with Sri Ramachandra. And therefore, when we want to say that somebody ruled very well, we say this kingdom was like Rama Rajya. So imagine what kind of kingdom Sri Ramachandra must have established. In Valmiki Ramayana, etc., it is said, though the main story that we all know concludes with Sri Ramachandra coming and Pattabhisheka, Rajyabhisheka happening. Actually, it is said that Bhagavan lived for 1,000 years more. And he ruled for 1,000 more years. And by the end of it, we will see different stories where he thought that, you remember earlier in Ayodhya Kanda also he had said that I don't like this Surya Vamsha Pratha, that only the elder son should become the king. What about the other brothers? What about the other sons? So towards the end, what he actually did was, he divided the entire kingdom and gave it to different. So Bharata, Lakshmana, Shatrughna, Lava, Kusha later on also, all of them get little bit of kingdom. Not little bit in the sense, not land-wise, kingdom was so big, so naturally, but he split the whole thing into different parts. And if we actually see the concept of Rama Rajya, though it is monarchy, there is a king ruling, but what we see is a very democratic kind of setup. Here also he tries to establish the states, and allows the states to rule themselves. But all of them come under one nation. So similar concept is also seen in Rama Rajya throughout. Earlier in Ayodhya Kanda, when he was giving Upadesha to Bharat Ji, and Bharat Ji is going back, we saw that Bhagavan explains very beautifully, very simple terms, how the kingdom should be ruled. He says the subject, the people and the king should be one unit, like a body. And all the other parts should feed to mouth. And the mouth should make sure that the nutrition goes to all parts, and therefore all parts are protected, nourished. That's the job of the mouth. Now, if we understand this concept, what Sri Ramachandra has, this Siddhanta which is there, then we will understand how Rama Rajya was. Even in Bharat, if we see in last few years, we say Sabka Saath, Sabka Vikas. What is this? That is Rama Rajya Sankalpana. We have taken all these things from Sri Ramachandra's kingship only. Sabka Saath, Sabka Vikas. So everybody should participate. Everybody should put their efforts, their mind in the progress of the nation, and in that entire process, everybody is benefited. So exactly the Sankalpana concept of all hands and legs and everything feeding to mouth, and then the mouth nourishing all the limbs. We also see that generally scriptures say that in different Chanakya Niti or in Vidura Niti or in different texts, even in Puranas, etc., they will say that king is supposed to take care of three things. There are three main duties of king. Manusmriti also will speak of this. What are the three main duties? One thing is the king has to protect the people. So Rakshanam, Rakshita he should be, protection. Second is Vrittidaha. He should give livelihood to people. He should create things by which everybody is able to work, earn money and progress in their life. Unemployment, we keep talking about it, isn't it? So it is the duty of the king, the governing authority, to create this livelihood. And third very important aspect which we often forget is that the king should be dharma shiksha pradata. He should teach the people how to perform dharma. What is the right way to live? What is the duty? He should teach. And how he should teach? By he himself living it. That's the main thing. You see, you want to tell to 50 people, you will gather them all together and you will announce something. Okay, very good, simple. Now you go to university setup, suddenly 2000 people are there. How are you going to tell? Going to gather all 2000 people together, it will become too chaotic. How are you going to bring those values into them? You have to start living it. That's the only way. No other method will work. And Bhagavan Sri Ramachandra, we saw, lived it. We call him Maryada Purushottama, isn't it? He is the best among the humans. That's how he is. And he said that Maryada has got different meanings. Many times Maryada we think is a boundary. Maryada, remain in that boundary. Actually, Maryada means limit. Boundary also is a limit. But here Maryada Purushottama means what? that Bhagavan set the limit of what can be done. If you say duty as a son, as brother, as husband, as king, even as enemy, what is the ultimate perfect duty in all these things that Bhagavan Sri Ramachandra has set? We say very famous line, Ramo Vigrahavan Dharma, that he is Sakshat Dharma taken form, embodiment of Dharma. What do you mean by that? He did not just follow Dharma, but he raised the standard of Dharma and put it at such a limit, such a level that people can't reach it. That much he has already done. And in trying to reach, people find fulfillment of their life. How many later kings and politicians have taken inspiration from Sri Ramachandra? Oh, innumerable. We see even in the case of Shivaji Maharaj, his entire inspiration was Sri Ramachandra only. And what kind of Swarajya he want to establish? Everything had come from Rama Rajya only. So we see why? Because Bhagavan himself did it. And we will later on today's episode, today's session, we will also see he taught also. With words also he has taught what is duty of all of us, right? So therefore, we see this as very important aspect of Ramarajya, that he himself is doing what he wants others to do. And another very beautiful aspect that we see, Bhagavan says also in couple of places, even in Valmiki Ramayana it is said, Bhagavan says that people for me, people of the kingdom, the subject of the kingdom, they for me are my aradhya, they are worshipful for me. There is one very, very famous anecdote which is generally attributed to Lokmanya Tilak. Lokmanya Bal Gangadhar Tilak was one of the revolutionaries who fought for the freedom of India at the very early stages. Once one, reporter went and wanted to have interview with this Lokmanya Tilak Ji. And he was asking different questions. And after some time he said that, I looked around in your house, there is no altar. Generally in the families, in the houses, etc., their altar will be there, Bhagavan will be there, worship, etc. happens. He says, no, I have altar. I have. So he took this reporter to the terrace and he showed the entire people and he said, this is my altar. This is my God, all the people. We see Gurudev also saying the same thing in our Chinmaya Mission pledge, isn't it? Service of the people is the service of Lord of Lords. Devotion to the people is the devotion to the Supreme Self. That concept is brought in by Sri Ramachandra. He says, for me, all the people are my aradhya. He says also there, sneham dayam cha saukhyam cha yadiva janakim api aradhanaya lokasya munchataha nasti me vyatha. He says, in order to serve people, even if I have to give up all these things, I won't mind. Which are the things you are ready to give up? Sneham, love, daya, compassion, saukhyam, family, yadiva janakim api. Even if I have to give up Janaki, I don't have any vyatha if I am serving people through that. I don't mind giving up anything. This is Siddhanta of Ramarajya. And with this, we see the description that Tulsidas Ji gives. Of course, Valmiki Ji has also given of Ramarajya, which is wonderful. See, how do you describe a kingdom? One way is to describe the material prosperity that the kingdom had. Isn't it? Now what has happened is, in most of our recent history, we only measure greatness of a kingdom based on their material prosperity. Riches. What did they do? What did that? But if you really think about it, it is much more than that. Here the description of Bhautika Ramarajya is there. No doubt about it. But more than that, Tulsidas Ji explains it by showing what kind of people lived in that kingdom. Why? Because by the people you will know what level of kingdom was there. He describes, he says, everyone loved each other. There was no enmity or hatred towards each other. All were following their duties according to ashrama and varna. There was no tapatraya, there was no conflict, no calamity was there. There was a love and harmony between the people which only grew. There was no untimely death. Son never died, before father. It is said in Valmiki Ramayana, one story comes that one Brahmana went to complain to Sri Ramachandra. The complaint was that my son has died before me. Now, if you say, you will say, but Vedji, so one person died. Array, the point is, that means it was a complaint, means never it happened. It never happened. No untimely death means health was good. Mental, physical, all kinds of health, no diseases. So the entire system was perfect. Nobody was sad, nobody was poor, nobody was uneducated, nobody was uncultured. All these descriptions are there. They say all were panditas, scholars also, jnanis also, but gunadnya, but they understood, recognized the virtues and qualities of other people. All were happy. That is what Rama Rajya should look like, isn't it? And that is the description which is given. Outer riches and grandeur is also explained. I am not saying no, but I don't want to go into that because that has no meaning for us. Tulsidas Ji even describes how rulers, like Sri Ramachandra, what kind of life he lived. Sita Ji, how she lived afterwards. Bharata, Lakshmana, all of them, how did they live? It is said Sita Ji used to serve Sri Rama all the time. So though there were so many people and servants, etc., she used to cook herself for Sri Ramachandra. Even today, if you go to Ayodhya, there is a place called Sita Ki Rasoi. Is there or not there? Am I lying? No, I am not lying. It is there. You go and see. Why do you call that as Sita Ki Rasoi? Sita's kitchen. Why? She herself used to cook and feed Sri Rama. And feed so many people. Even today from that place, so many people eat. Every day Bandara happens. Even today. Sri Ramachandra, it is said, he did so many Ashwamedha Yagas, etc. for the people. Lakshmana, Bharata, all the brothers, etc. Hanumanji, all of them continuously used to serve Sri Rama, and whatever he tells for the people, they used to do that. Like this, he explains. Now, Tulsidas Ji just mentions that all were living like this, and Sita Ji had two sons. Okay, their names were Lava and Kusha, who were very famous and who later on became kings. So too, other three brothers of Sri Ramachandra, that is Bharat Ji, Lakshman Ji and Shatrugna Ji, all of them also had two sons each. And with that, he concludes. He says, rest of the things you already know. We don't know what rest of the things happened. In other Ramayanas, there is a full episode of Sita Parityaga. Sri Ramachandra giving up Sita Ji again. Tulsidas Ji has not described it, not even mentioned it. Okay. But I should tell you what that Sita Parityaga was there. So in other Ramayanas, the story comes that people in the kingdom started to talk about Sita Ji's purity. They started to misuse Sita Ji's example to do something wrong. Generally, it is said a washerman was there, Dhobi. He started the whole thing. Different, versions of this story are available. Point is what? The gossip grew. And Sri Rama felt very bad that even after Agni Pariksha, etc., that Sita Ji has gone through, still people are talking bad about her and, not giving respect that she deserves, that she commands. So he thought that something must be done. And he did not find any other way to do it. And when she was pregnant, he called Lakshman Ji and said that you please take her to this particular place near Valmiki Ji's ashram in the forest and leave her there. Before he tells, he takes promise that whatever I am going to tell, you will not question me. And you will just do because I am telling. Because he knew that if Lakshman Ji starts to question, Sri Ramachandra won't be able to do what he wanted to do. So Lakshman Ji did his job. He went there with a very heavy heart. He knew why he is going. Sita Ji did not know why she is going. She was behind Lakshmana again and again that, you take me to forest, it's been long since I have gone. So he says, okay, I will take. And he left her near Valmikiji's ashrama and told that this is what Sri Ramachandra has given me order, and please forgive me, don't ask me any questions because I don't have answers to any of your questions. He says very clearly, and he returns. Sita ji then goes to Valmikiji's ashrama. Valmikiji raises the kids. She is pregnant, no? So both the kids are born there. Lava and Kusha are born in Valmikiji's ashram only and are raised by Valmikiji. Okay, and they are expert in everything: Dhanur Vidya, Veda Vidya, Sangeeta Vidya, and they learn the entire Ramayana also. And it is said, the story goes, that they don't know that this is their father's story, father's mother's. They just learn it in the childhood, and then they come to Ayodhya and they are singing. So people become very fascinated too, small, children singing like this. So they take him to the court, and Sri Ramachandra himself is listening to the Ramayana story from Lava and Kusha. He doesn't know that they are my kids. They don't know that this is our father and the story is ours. In Marathi, there is one very beautiful Gita Ramayana. The entire Ramayana is made into songs by Kadi Madgulkar last century, and Sudhir Phadke has composed it and sung also. Very beautiful song is there, that Swaye Shri Rama Prabhu Aikati Kushalava Ramayana Gati. All the songs, the entire story through songs they have presented. So that is the scene that Sri Ramachandra himself is listening to his own story, and his own sons are singing his own story, but they don't know. Then Bhagavan also does one Ashwamedha Yaga. For that, wife, Yajamana Patni is also required. He says, I am not going to marry again. So they keep one golden statue of Sita ji, and like that he completes the Ashwamedha Yaga. And that Ashwa that horse is taken out. That is caught by Lava and Kusha. So there is a fight that happens between Lava, Kusha and Sri Ramachandra. And when he comes to know that these are his own sons, he brings them back to Ayodhya. Sita ji also is requested to come back, but before coming back, she is asked to do Agni Pariksha again. She says, nothing doing. I am not doing any Pariksha now, I am done. And in front of all the people, she requests Dharani Mata, Prithvi Devi, her mother, to accept her back. And she vanishes into earth. This is how Sita ji's Avatara Karya completes. Now, when you listen to all these things, we say, what is this? Why Sri Ramachandra did like this? See, there are many perspectives and many different explanations are there. One very important perspective which is always mentioned is Raja Dharma is above Pati Dharma. That he as king has higher responsibility, and therefore he as a husband, that responsibility is at a lower level. Whenever there is dharma sammoha, in Mahabharata also we will see the description which dharma overpowers the other dharma. So what is for more people, that overpowers. Therefore for Raja Dharma he did this. But I had heard very beautiful explanation from Swamiji only, that this Lakshmanji came back, but he was not happy. Why? He was thinking that, okay, I followed my father's instructions. Sri Ramachandra is his father, no? Elder brother is like father. But what about my mother? I did wrong with her. I did not, give any explanation, and I just left her there. So after many months, Lakshmana gathers courage and goes and asks Sri Ramachandra, why did you do it? You have done it, whatever you have done, but I am not able to sit properly, I am not able to sleep properly. Why did you do? And the answer that Sri Ramachandra has given has satisfied my doubt. I also had this doubt, why Sri Ramachandra left Sita ji. See, when you worship your God, you don't want him to have any kind of negative thing. I also was thinking for a long time, why did you do? Sri Ramachandra says, Lakshmana, you don't understand. I love her too much to listen to any kind of nonsense about her from people. I cannot tolerate any blemish coming to her. So by doing this, I took all the blemish on myself. And she became, what do you call as, Santvana Adhikari. She received all kinds of sympathy from people. For me, I am taking blemish. People say bad things about me. I don't care. But I cannot tolerate anything wrong about her. He says also to Lakshmana that you see for many years to come, nobody will question Sita ji. They will only question me. I am okay with that. Don't we see the same thing happening? He succeeded. What he wanted to do, he wanted to take that entire thing out. He explains also that if she would have remained with me, though I know, though she knows, though everybody close know, but people would have continued to ask this question. They would have never been satisfied. How much ever, one Agni Pariksha, second Agni Pariksha, third Agni Pariksha, he said that doesn't matter to people. He says, by this, she will get all the sympathy, I will get all the blame, I am okay with that. Knowing how much love Bhagavan had for Sita ji and how it is explained, I don't think this is very difficult to understand. We see in our transactional world also many times, just to keep that love going, we take the blame. We don't care about what is happening. How many times it happens that we keep the loved ones away from us so that they are safe. Don't we see this happening even now? So, it doesn't look far-fetched for me what Sri Ramachandra did. Important thing is, how did he live after he gave up Sita ji? After Sita ji went to forest. The entire description in Valmiki Ramayana is very alarming. He was living in a palace but not living in palace. The description is that he used to sleep on the ground, not on the bed. He used to eat only fruits, no other, panchapakwan, etc., delicious food, etc. He never used to eat anything. He used to live like tapasvi. He doesn't have to. In those times, a Kshatriya king marrying many women was not wrong at all. We saw Dashrath Maharaj himself had so many wives. All his previous kings had so many wives. It was Sri Ramachandra who had only one wife. The king who had only one wife was Sri Ramachandra. That's why Ekapatni is considered to be very rare for such. And even when Ashwamedha Yaga is to be performed, he said, I will not. He says, I am ready to give up my kingship. If you say Ashwamedha Yajna should be done by a king and king should have queen with him, then I am ready to give up. But I will not marry again. He says again and again to Lakshmana, that is one thing that you cannot take away from me. That decision is mine. As long as I am serving people, I don't see any problem with that. So lot of things are there about the Sita Parityaga also which people don't consider. But if we really think, we don't find any mistake. Now somebody says, oh, but Vedji, what about Sita ji? She suffered. Now how do we know? How do we know if she would have lived here in the kingdom, she would not have suffered? As we said, people talking, imagine she has to keep listening to that all the time. That is worse than living. And she was taken care by Valmiki Rishi. Her children were born in a very sattvic environment. What else the mother wants? Individually, that love between both of them is unparalleled, and therefore we can't even compare. Therefore, we don't know how they must have survived, but they were not some common human beings, no? They are God. Therefore, this entire concept has to be understood like this. Now we go forward. Tulsidas Ji, as I said, has not even mentioned anything about Sita Parityaga, about the Ashwamedha Yaga, about all other things. There are so many such stories, I tell you. If you start listening to each one story, you will be flabbergasted. Uttara Kanda of Valmiki Ramayana is very shocking. One story is there that once Sri Ramachandra and one Rishi, Durvasa Rishi, I think, was having conversation. And he put a rule that nobody should disturb. If anybody disturbs, will be banished. And something happened because of which Lakshman ji had to go. So Sri Ramachandra banished Lakshmana. That is how he went to Rishikesh. That Lakshman Jhula is there, no? That's where he went and he did tapas. He said, you banish me means what? Actually, the rule was that I will kill that person. If somebody disturbs this meeting, nobody should enter. So Lakshmana says, okay, I am ready to die. Vasishta Rishi says that you just keep him away from you is equal to death for him, and that's why Sri Ramachandra banishes him. And he goes there and he does tapas. After some time he comes to know that Sri Ramachandra has completed his Avatara. Then he also completes his Avatara. That is how the story is of Lakshmanji also. So very unusual stories. Many of us may not have heard about all these stories, but are there in Uttara Kanda. As I had told you in the last session also, many people believe that Uttara Kanda was interpolation. All these stories did not happen. Sri Ramachandra's stories concludes with the Rajyabhisheka. After that, whatever happened, they don't take anything. Oh, fine. But those stories are there. Now coming to Tulsidas Ji, he has not mentioned any of these stories. Okay? He just describes this Bhautika Rama Rajya and Adhyatmik Rama Rajya, and he says what was the decoration, how were the houses, and how there were parrots, etc. in people's house. They also used to chant Jai Shri Ram. That the only good things they were hearing, and Sharayu river, how she was beautiful, how ashramas were there in the kingdom, and how people keep on, they used to always discuss Ramakatha all the time. Adhyatmika Rama Rajya also he explains. It is not just outside there is a kingdom of Sri Ramachandra. There is a Sri Ramachandra's kingdom inside. When Bhagavan's Rajyabhisheka happens, is like the Suryodaya, is like the sunrise. What sunrise? A rise of self-knowledge. And then he describes the whole thing, that when sun rises, there are some elements which are not happy. Night is not happy, owl is not happy, Chakora Pakshi is not happy, thieves are not happy. Isn't it? When the sun rises, they don't want sun to rise. So that he compares with different things. Ratri is like avidya, night is like the ignorance. Owls, they are like agha, sins. And lily, water lily, that which blooms only at night. So she also doesn't like Suryodaya. That is like Kama Krodadi. And then there is Chakora Pakshi also who drinks the nectar from moonlight. He also does not like the sun. He is like the sorrow creators, Kala, and then Karma, Swabhava, Guna, etc. And then there are thieves, Matsara, Mana, Moha, Mada, all these thieves. They also don't like Atmajnana rising. So like this, he describes all those who will feel sad. They cannot exist in Ramarajya. Then he explains who will become happy. The lotuses in the ponds will become happy because sun has risen. That is like the Jnana and Vijnana. That pond is like Dharma. And in that Dharma Sarovara, these lotuses have bloomed. He says cuckoo birds, etc. will be very happy. They start chirping at sunrise. They are like Sukha, Santosha, and Viveka, Vairagya, all these good virtues. All of them will grow in this Ramarajya. So, he explains also this Bhautika and Adhyatmika Ramarajya. And beautiful descriptions are there of Sri Ramachandra having Satsang. Now, this is again a common thing with all other Ramayanas also. We see that in Valmiki Ramayana also, that Sri Ramachandra, whenever some saint used to visit, he used to ask them a lot of questions. And through that, the story of Uttara Kanda is there. Like that, only 100 chapters of Ravana story is there. Some Rishi Munis are telling the story of Ravana to Sri Ramachandra, the backstory. And that's how we have many stories. In Mahabharata also, we see that this Yudhishthira or Arjuna, Bhima, all of them, whenever they meet saints, they will ask questions and the saints will narrate the stories. That is how we have these small short stories, what we call today, are there in Mahabharata. Dushyanta Shakuntala story or Nala Damayanti story or different these stories. They are not the actual part of Mahabharata story, but they come in as these saints, etc., giving this narration. One such episode is described here by Tulsidas Ji. He says, one day, Sri Ramachandra decided that he wants to go in some garden just to relax. So with all the three brothers and Hanumanji, all four of them, plus Sri Ramachandra, they went to one Upavana. And in that small garden, Sanatkumaras came, the 4 sons of Brahmaji, no? Sanaka, Sanandana, Sanatana, Sanatkumara, they 4 came. They had gone to listen to this Rama Katha from Agastya Muni. Like Shivji also had gone, you remember. So after listening to that story, they wanted to meet and have darshan of Sri Ramachandra. That's why they came. They are very interesting characters, okay, these 4. They are always 5-year-old. Therefore, they don't wear any clothes, etc. And they are Brahmadhyanis. They don't grow up. They always remain that. And they always have conversation with each other. It is said that 4 of them, one day one person will become Vakta, all 3 others will listen. Then another day, second will become Vakta and the remaining 3 will listen. Like that, they keep giving knowledge to each other. Study group concept started from Sanatkumaras only. That is how the whole thing is. And that is how we have their 5th brother. Their younger brother is Naradji. Sometimes Naradji will come and Naradji will ask question, then one of them will answer, then second one will add on something. That is how we have Upanishads also. We have 7th chapter of Chandogya is the dialogue between them. Naradji and Sanatkumara. So very interesting. These Sanatkumaras came to meet Bhagavan, and Bhagavan Sri Ramachandra is so happy, and he does the puja and he does all the worship. Munis, Rishis have come, and they are so engrossed in looking at Bhagavan that they don't do anything. And Bhagavan, taking that, starts to explain to the 3 brothers and Hanumanji that how rare is this Satsanga and what happens when Satsanga is there. We should cherish it, etc., etc. Very beautiful episode is there that this Satsanga is gained only if we have lot of good merits. Bhagya is there, and this Satsanga will remove Papa, Tapa, Shapa, all 3. Papa, all the sins, Tapa, all the afflictions, the 3 tapas we see, generally. Adi Daivika, Adi Bhautika, Adi Adhyatmika, all these 3 tapas are removed. Shapa also, if you have got some curse, etc., that also will be removed by this Satsanga. One will be released from this Bhavabandha, and Satsanga leads to Apavarga. Very interesting description is there. This Apavarga concept had come earlier, if you remember. That time I had mentioned to you, Apavarga means moksha. But I tell you, this Apavarga word has come very interestingly. In Sanskrit grammar, we have consonants, 33, isn't it? Out of that, first 25 consonants are called as group consonants, Varga Aksharas. Remember? Ka, kha, ga, ga, nga, cha, cha, ja, ja, ya, ta, tha, da, da, na, ta, tha, da, da, na, pa, pa, pa. Some people were complaining that long time no Sanskrit class happened. So that's why Sanskrit class now. You may forget, no? Otherwise, by the time the next thing starts, you will forget. So each row is called by Varga. Ka Varga, Cha Varga, Ta Varga, Ta Varga. Pa Varga is there. That Pa Varga is what? Pa, Pa, Ba, Ba, Ma. Now this is a Pa Varga, not Pa Varga. What do you mean by Pa Varga? Pa means Papa. Pa means Phala. Phala is Karma Phala. Ba means Bandha. Pa, pa, ba, bha. Bha means Bhaya, fear. And Ma means Mrityu or Marana. Papa, sin. Phala, karma phala, that is the results of actions. That also bind us. Bandha, Bhaya and Marana. These 5 are called as Pavarga. Where these 5 are not there, that is called as Apavarga, which is moksha. Where Papa is not there, Karma is not there, Bandha is not there, isn't it? All the knots of the heart are. Have you studied or not? What is that shloka? Vedji, last day you should not take this test. You are supposed to take test on the last day. Vedji, something is there, no? Why? Vidyate hridaya grantihi chidyante sarva samshayaha kshiyante chasya karmani tasmin drashte paravare. Upanishad mantra, which says that all the knots of the heart are cut. All the doubts are dispelled. And all the, karmas, kshiyante, they have no power. Tasmin drishte paravare, when that Supreme is seen, when moksha is seeing that Supreme Brahman aparokshanubhuti, that will remove, that will end this papa, phala, bandha, bhaya and marana. That's why it is called as apavarga. So we see that just like that Bhagavan explains also what happens when you have satsanga. And then Sanakadi Rishis, they do the stuti of Sri Ramachandra. Very, very beautiful stuti is there. This is after Doha number 33, it is there. Jaya Nirguna Jaya 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 Nirguna Jaya Jaya Guna Sagara Sukha Mandira Sundara Atinagar Jaya Indira Ramana Jaya Bhudhara Anupama Aja Anadi Sobhakara. It is said that these Sanatkumaras are like 4 Vedas. 4 of them, no? So the stuti that they do is also from a very different standpoint. Earlier also we had seen that Veda stuti. Isn't it? Rajabhisheka time. So similar to here also, similar to that here also, we see, they say that Bhagavan, you have many names, but yet you have no names. Means, Saguna you have many names, but Nirguna you have no names. You have many forms, yet you have no form. Again, Sakara has got many forms, but Nirakara has no form. So, sometimes you say you are gained through knowledge, sometimes you say you are gained through bhakti, devotion also. But we understand that you are one. Whether Nirguna or Saguna, whether Nirakara or Sakara, you are that one. And therefore, we offer salutations unto you. Please grant us that prema bhakti, that love for you, that should be there. It is said, Bhagavan can't say now tathastu again, because these are rishis. So in the mind only, he says tathastu. How do you know he says in the mind? Because he says that Bhagavan became happy. He became happy means what? He gave them whatever they asked. That's what it means. That is what happened when the Sanakadi Rishis went away. Now Bhagavan is sitting with these 3 brothers and Hanumanji. Now it is said that Bharatji wanted to ask something. Remember I told you that prasanga. But he didn't have that courage to ask. Now how can I ask something? So they all are looking at each other. Who will start the topic? Now everybody started to look at Hanumanji. Then Sri Ramachandra also started to look at Hanumanji and said, what happened? He said, no, Bharatji wanted to say something. Sri Ramachandra said, why are you becoming lawyer? If he wanted to say, let him say, no, directly. Why? I love you all, you know, right? You can talk anything to me. So Bharatji then opens up. See, many people don't say, some people know, they don't know concept called as hesitation. Muphat they are called in Hindi. वो तो आ गया दिमाग में तो बोल दिया, सोचते नहीं है बीच में. They don't think. No, such people will not understand all these things. Oh, what is there? You felt, you spoke. No. You should see sometimes when we are sitting around Swamiji and some topic has to go in. All other people know what topic needs to be discussed, but Swamiji doesn't know. All start looking at each other. Who will start the topic? Who will start the topic? Then one person will suddenly, Swamiji, what we were thinking. Why? It is not that he is going to get angry or not like that. You hesitate. Many things you don't want to. See, when respect is there, that kind of hesitation is going to remain. You can't avoid that. So Bharatji here hesitates. Now, when everything is done and when Sri Ramachandra says, you what hesitation, you ask whatever you want to ask. Then Bharatji says, I have one wish. What? I want to listen something from you. All other people always get this kind of, upadesha, etc. You gave Rama Gita to Lakshmanji and, you taught to so many people. Vibhishana also you taught and then Sugriva also. I never got any chance to sit and listen under, study under you or listen something. So I want to listen. Sri Ramachandra said, very good. Ask. Said, what ask? Hey, all of them asked something, then I told, oh, like that. So question needs to come. Then you will ask, I have question. I have ready. Question is ready. What question? I want to know what are the characteristics of Santa and Asanta. what are the characteristics of noble people and what are the characteristics of ignoble people. And what beautiful way Sri Ramachandra answers. He says, being noble yourself, asking what are the characteristics of noble is a characteristic of a noble. He said, Bharata, you already are a saint and you are asking what are the characteristics of saint, proves that you have all the characteristics of saint. But because to fulfill his wish, he answers. Now please note, he has already called Bharata as saint and then explaining what are the qualities of saint, which means what? That the Upadesha is not for him. Upadesha is meant for us. Same thing he did with Shabari also, isn't it? He said, Navada Bhakti, you have all of it in full measure. So the Upadesha was not for her, for us. Similarly, this Upadesha is also for us. And very beautiful explanations are given. In short also, Sri Ramachandra's method is very interesting. He will give the entire thing in short first and then he will elaborate. Okay, typical methodology of Shastra also. You see Sri Krishna also using the same methodology in Gita. Vastu Sangraha Vakya will be there. Shardananji uses this word, Vastu Sangraha Vakya. Adhyananji to loves this word. Every chapter Vastu Sangraha Vakya will come. So one verse or one line will be there which comprises the entire topic in essence, and then the elaboration will be there. Bhagavad Gita, you see, entire thing is like that. Only second chapter is that Vastu Sangraha and then rest of the chapters are explanation. So Sri Ramachandra also uses, Shankaracharya also has the same methodology, isn't it? In the second verse of Vivek Chudamani, he has summarized the entire Vivek Chudamani. All the 9 topics that he is going to discuss, he has already mentioned in the second verse. And then after that, 579 verses are written as explanation of that. So we see this similar methodology of Sri Ramachandra. He says, to tell you in short, who is a Santa and who is Asanta. He says, saints are like a, sandalwood tree. And Asanta, ignoble people, wicked people are like the axe. That's it. What do you mean? The axe will cut the tree, but the tree will give its fragrance even to the axe. That sandalwood will not leave its characteristic. See, have you heard any better explanation of this? I remember one anecdote that, there was one saint was there and he was at the river side, and there was one Scorpio just born and he was drowning in. So he used to pick up and keep that Scorpio outside. When he will try to pick up, the Scorpio will bite. So he will have to leave. Then again he will try to grab, again the Scorpio will bite. Again he will try to. Now somebody was looking at it, said, what are you doing? You are trying to help the Scorpio, but Scorpio is biting you again and again. Then why do you want to help? So the saint said, see, Scorpio's nature is to bite. If the Scorpio is not leaving his nature, why should I leave my nature? They will help even if we don't take their help properly, we misuse, we abuse their help, still they will continue to help. That is how saints are. Then he goes on to explain that there are innumerable qualities, and so many qualities are described here. Shanti, Kshama, Daya, Karuna, Ajata Shatrutva. There is no ego, no attachment, and equanimous they are towards everybody. They don't have any desire. They have lot of love, for God as well as for the world. And like this, very beautiful explanation of Santa Lakshana. Asanta Lakshana also he describes. Interesting thing you will see, in Santa Lakshana, most of the qualities are one word. Shanti, Shama, Dama, Karuna. Description is well known. But when it comes to the explanation of wicked, you don't have that one word thing. You have to explain that their company gives sorrow to all the people. They are jealous when they see other people progressing. They love to criticize other people, and they love to listen to the criticism of other people also. Everything that they do is a lie. They take with a lie, they give with a lie, they eat with a lie, they chew with a lie, they speak with a lie. Tulsidas Ji explains all these things. You will see in 16th chapter of Bhagavad Gita also, Daiva Asura Sampat Vibhaga Yoga, isn't it? Daivi Sampat Bhagavan has described in one word, isn't it? One word. And then he has used one verse to describe Asura Sampat, but he says, no, that is not sufficient. I need to describe it. And then he starts to explain. Isn't it? Rest of the 16th chapter is all a description of Asuri Sampat. Adhyo abhijanovan asmi, konyosti sadrusho maya. He starts to talk in first person only. That I am so rich. And I have so many people, so many followers. Who is there like me? I have asau maya hata shatruhu, hanishyecha aparanapi. I have killed this enemy, I will kill other enemies also. He said all these things, person who thinks is a Asuri Sampat. Person with Asuri Sampat. So we see that more description is there. I remember when this lying was being explained, no? They lie in everything. They take with lie, they give with lie, everything. So Guruji used to say, we have our own Shanti mantra, no? Purna madaha, Purna midam. They have their own Shanti mantra. Jhuta madaha, Jhuta midam, Jhuta mudachyate, Jhutasya, Jhuta madaya, Jhuta meva avashishyate. They have their own Shanti mantra, where lie is the main thing. That is also lie, this is also lie, from that lie, this lie has come. And when you remove this lie from that lie, lie alone will remain. Vedji, we just now studied Purnamadaha in Ishavasya Upanishad. You have destroyed it for us. No, Purnamadaha is like that only. But you see, for some people, one lie arises from another lie and then another. It keeps on happening. That is how these ignoble people are. But very interesting thing Sri Rama concludes with. He says, because you asked, I told you what are the lakshanas of Santa and Asanta. But let me tell you. All these qualities are creations of Maya. And therefore, we should not look at people with these qualities and create any difference in them. Whether a person is a saint, a noble person or ignoble person, we should not create that difference. He says these qualities are there, but these qualities are there only to check yourself and find out whether I am noble or ignoble. That's it. You should not divide the entire world saying that, okay, these are noble people, these are ignoble people. No. You should treat everybody as noble. What a beautiful thing. Description is there, but then he says at the end that one who is walking the spiritual path should not make this distinction. Should not have this kind of discrimination between people. And like this, we see that there are many samvadas that happened. Naradji used to often visit and keep asking questions, and through that samvadas used to happen. One particular samvada which is very popular, which is given here again, is called Purajana Gita. One day, Sri Ramachandra called all his subject, all the people of the kingdom, and said that I have something to tell you all. Remember, we saw that as a king, your duty is to give that dharma shiksha to everybody. You should explain to them what is their duty. So what he told to the people of the city, Purajana, that is called as Purajana Gita. Please note, there is a different text called Puranjana Gita. There is a different text is there, Puranjana. The Puranjana Upakhyana also it is called, which is there in Mahabharata also. That's different. This is Purajana Gita. Pura means city, Jana means people. Again, this portion is such, some 4 or 5 dohas, that it can be taken as an independent text for 7 days of Jnana Yajna. Guruji takes generally. Recently, I think he took Pune, Purajana Gita. Sri Ramachandra's Upadesha to the people of the city as to what is the dharma. What is Manushya Dharma? What is the dharma of human being? So we see in Ramacharitmanas, 5 Gitas are very popular. First is Shiva Gita. You remember Parvati ji had asked, after that entire Sati Moha Prasanga and after everything, she had asked about Avatara Rahasya, how Nirguna becomes Saguna. That Shiva Gita is very popular. Second, we saw Lakshmana Gita, where Lakshman ji is telling Nishad Raj about that Karma Siddhanta which he has learned from Ramachandra. That how everything happens according to karma. That karma siddhanta concept, the Lakshmana Gita is very popular. Third, we saw Rama Gita. Isn't it? Where on Vedanta, Lakshmanji had asked a lot of questions. What exactly is knowledge? What is Maya? You remember all that. 5 questions he had asked, and that Rama Gita is very popular. Fourth we saw is Vibhishana Gita, where suddenly when Vibhishana got doubt that Ravana has got this chariot and everything, but Sri Ramachandra doesn't have, then through that Dharma Ratha concept was explained by Bhagavan. So what for success, what kind of chariot we should have, what are the things, what are the qualities we should have, that Dharma Ratha concept also is popular. And the fifth is this Purajana Gita, which is Sri Ramachandra's Upadesha to Ayodhya Vasis. And mainly the Upadesha is on Bhakti. And very amazing. He says, I am going to tell you something, listen to me carefully, but you don't have to accept everything that I am telling. Whatever you like, you take. But if you listen properly and if you follow, then you will become very good citizens and then you will have my love. See, both things. Freedom also is given. He is not a dictatorship saying that, listen, oh fools, come here and listen. Nothing like that. I am sharing something because I think that is necessary for you. I am sharing. But it's up to you what you want to pick. But if you pick everything and follow, there is something. This is called as Shrotra Abhimukhikaran also. You catch attention of the listener. And then he starts the description. We don't have much time to go deeper into the whole thing. But I will tell you main points which are given. First thing he gives is how human embodiment is extremely rare. And therefore, we have to value it. He also describes that it is gained by God's grace alone. And therefore, don't waste that grace by just using the human life for enjoyment. He explains all these things. Okay, that's the first topic that he covers. Second topic he takes up is this human life. When you say you should not waste, then what should we do in this human life? What you must do is to inculcate bhakti. This bhakti will later on give you that self-knowledge which is the goal of human life, he explains. And how will you get that bhakti? Bhakti you will gain from satsanga. How satsanga comes? Satsanga comes from punya. Earlier also he said by bhagya only we get satsanga. And how do you gain that punya? He say you start serving brahmanas. The brahmana seva is indication of pancha mahayajnas. That you do your duty according to varnashrama. Towards the other people, towards the world, towards the society, towards God, towards Pitrus, towards everybody. That will create punya karma will give rise to satsanga will give rise to bhakti will give rise to atmajnana. That is how you have to live. And therefore, following your duty according to dharma ashrama is the only thing that you must do. If you do this, you will finally become a bhakta. What are the qualities that the bhakta has? Those are also described. One interesting thing that he does in this entire description is he uses the word me as God for the first time. He is talking to general people. Okay? It is the first time that Bhagavan uses mama guna grama namarata. He uses the word me as a pronoun me for God. This is in a way to unveil himself. This is towards the end of his Avatara Karya, isn't it? He wants everybody to know and gain that knowledge. That's why he does that also. And we see further also that after the people they listen, they are so overwhelmed by the whole thing. Imagine Bhagavan Sri Ramachandra himself coming and teaching. Right? And therefore, they all listen with absolute concentration, and then after that it is said that they all come and touch his feet. Every single person. All those who have gathered there, all of them prostrate. All of them express their gratitude and very beautiful. And they say that even our parents will not tell us all these things which you have told. You are even more beneficial to us, hitakari to us, than even our parents. Why? Because parents have to tell so many things of the world that generally these things are missed. You are our guru, like that they describe. And they ask also that, very interesting thing he says, Hetu Rahita Jaga Juga Upakari. They say that there are only two people in the world who are very upakari, who do lot of good things for us. Who are they? Tumha, Tumhara Sevaka. He says, you, God, and your servant, your bhaktas. That's why we see every single Bhakti Shastra describes God and the disciples of God or the devotees of God. He says only those two are hitakaris for us. In a way, who is servant of God? Guru only. So that's why it comes down to 2G, as Guruji says. God and Guru, they are the only two people who help us. And like this, remembering this Upadesha of Sri Ramachandra, talking to each other about this, they all go back. Now we are coming towards the end of Rama Avatara. And one day, Vasishta Rishi comes. And Vasishta Rishi is his guru. Bhagavan does all the, puja, etc. He washes his feet and that tirtha he drinks. And with folded hands he says, what you tell me? Vasishta Rishi folds hand and says, my father, Vasishta Rishi's father is Brahmaji. My father, after creating this, gave me this job of becoming Purohit for Surya Vamsha. That I should become the Purohit, I should become the Kulaguru of the Surya Vamsha, which I did not like. And he said, I told my father that, no, what is this Purohit, etc. I got Brahmadhyana and why should I do all these things? I don't want to do. He said, my father described to me, if I do what is my duty, I will get result of that. And he said, as a result of me doing my duty as Purohit of Surya Vamsha, I will get to be Guru of Sakshat Bhagavan. That word, those words of Brahmaji appealed to me, and therefore I started serving as Kulaguru of Surya Vamsha. As I started doing it, I started enjoying my duty, and I realized that was the best thing that could happen. And remembering his words, I know you are that God for which I became Kulaguru. So, at least in front of me now, please don't do all these washing feet, etc. That's the main point that he wants to tell. That I know who you are. I know what you have been doing. So please drop all these things, and with folded hands, I request you, you give me one boon. How many ever births I have to take hereafter, my devotion for your feet should only multiply. It should never reduce. Again, Sri Ramachandra is not, there is a guru. He can't say tatastu. So again it is said that Bhagavan doesn't say anything, but he smiles. Asakahi muni basishta grahai kripa sindhu ke mana ati bhai. He becomes pleased, means he grants. And like this, Vasishta Rishi also goes. Now Tulsidas Ji comes and concludes this Avatara Karya in a very interesting way. It is said that one day Bhagavan called all his brothers, etc. and said, I am going to give away everything. So he called all the people of the kingdom and started giving away things. That is how he must have given away different parts of kingdom also. And that much only is said. Nothing Tulsidas Ji says. In Valmiki Ramayana, if you see, there is a proper scene that he took all the Ayodhya Vasis to the Sharayu Ghat, and on the banks of that Sharayu, they all took dip, and Bhagavan took all of them to Saketa Loka. Like that, here, nothing like that is mentioned. It is said, he gave away everything. Then with his 3 brothers and Hanumanji, he went to one garden. And he said that I am very tired. So Bharatji put one cloth. He sat on that cloth. And Hanumanji is fanning him. And all other 3 brothers are serving him. Tulsidas Ji says, what a beautiful scene that we must see. Over. He doesn't say that Bhagavan concluded his Avatara Karya, what did he do? Too painful for him. He doesn't want to do that. It is said Naradji came there and he did stuti of Bhagavan. And with that, Ramakatha concludes. There is no further description of how it happened, whether he took everybody or not. But Tulsidas Ji concludes like this. Okay. Now, Rama Avatara has concluded, but the text has not yet concluded. You see that we are only near 51st Doha only. The Uttara Kanda has got 130 Dohas. Okay. So, what is there after this? So, the story of Kakabhushundi Ji comes, which we will see in the next session, which will be last session for us. So, in that session, we will see the story of Kakabhushundi Ji, and with that, we will conclude the Ramacharitmanas also. Rama Avatara is concluded, but Ramacharitmanas, one more session is there. Veera Maruti Gambhira Maruti,
Veera Maruti Gambhira Maruti,
Veera Maruti Gambhira Maruti,
Veera Maruti Gambhira Maruti,
Veera Maruti Ati Dhira 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 Maruti,
Gita Maruti Sangeeta Maruti,
Gita Maruti Sangeeta Maruti,
Gita Maruti Sangeeta Maruti,
Gita Maruti Sangeeta Maruti,
Duta Maruti Rama Duta 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 Maruti,
Bhakta Maruti Parama Bhakta 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 Maruti,
Veera Maruti Gambhira Maruti,
Veera Maruti Gambhira Maruti,
Veera Maruti Gambhira Maruti,
Veera Maruti Gambhira Maruti,
Gambhira Maruti,
Gambhira Maruti,
Gambhira Maruti,
Gambhira Maruti.
सियावर रामचंद्र की
जय,
पवन सुत हनुमान की
जय,
उमापति महादेव की
जय,
बोलो भाई सब संतन की
जय,
सद्गुरुनाथ महाराज की
जय।
ओम पूर्णमदः पूर्णमिदं पूर्णात् पूर्णमुदच्यते पूर्णस्य पूर्णमादाय पूर्णमेवावशिष्यते। ओम शांति शांति शांति। हरि ओम। श्री गुरुभ्यो नमः। हरि ओम।